Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my first Nommy Talks of 2024 and I'm actually super excited for it. Recently I've been watching a lot of YouTubers that I'm subscribed to doing videos on like ins and outs for 2024 and things that they want to start doing in 2024. So I just thought that, they've shared things with me that, I'm going to take on board. So I'd love to share some things with you guys. So yeah, the first and most important thing that I think I learned in 2023 was it's okay to change. And I think I've mentioned this before in my things that I learned at university video, but I think taking university away from it, there's a lot of things that as you grow you change. Like, we're humans, that happens. And it doesn't mean that you change over like 6 months. You could change your mind like in an hour. You could change something that you like, realize that you like something different in like the space of a week. So I feel like I've learned that it is okay to change, and that's just growth. That's what happens. We grow. We realize that what we like more. We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about the world. We learn more about what's out there. And people that think that you changing is something crazy or you changing is something bad, don't listen to them, because that's what you're meant to do. As you grow, you change. So that's one thing that I realised, and I feel like a lot of things changed for me in 2023, and I realised a lot more about myself and about people around me as well, which led to that change. And guys, it's okay to change. I feel like there were certain points where I was really like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, I feel like I'm a different person, and like I'm switching up on everyone and everything, but that's not the case. It's just growth. The second thing that I took from 2023 is it is okay if things don't go to plan. I am quite spontaneous, but I do like having plans for certain things, especially like long-term plans, even like little short-term plans. Like, I like planning things. So when things don't go according to plan, I think it used to freak me out a bit. I used to get a bit anxious about it, and I used to think like, we need to fix this now. Like, how do we fix this? Instead of rolling with whatever was coming instead of what I'd planned. And this year I was like, you know what? If things don't go as planned, and you've done everything that you can for them to go as planned, just roll with it and see where it takes you. Like, see what happens. And I think that was the best sort of self-reflection that I'd made, because it made me stop putting so much pressure on myself, stop making me get so anxious if something didn't go to plan. And it just helped me to live in the moment a bit more and be more spontaneous. Like, not everything has to be planned. You can wake up and just be like, let's just go here, let's just do this, let's, change everything. And that's perfectly fine. So just because things don't go to plan or as planned, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It could just be, what is actually meant to be happening for you. That was a big thing that I took from 2023. Another thing that I took from 2023 is to learn to love your time alone, and like being in your own presence and not being surrounded by noise, other people, something always going on. I did read it in Good Vibes, Good Life. If you know me, I love that book. And one of the main things that, the author goes on about is like learning to love your alone time, like spending time with yourself. And I was like, you know what, let me try this out. Instead of, especially like when I lived at uni, instead of going out and, meeting a friend for dinner or whatever the case may be when you're home alone, spend some time with yourself, have a self-care night, just be in Nommy's presence, just be, in your own zone. Don't FaceTime anyone, don't have a podcast on in the background, don't have something always like making noise, just be in your own sort of presence, in your own space. And I think I'm so happy that I did that, because once again, in terms of like changing, it gave me a lot of time to sort of like self-reflect and think about me, my life, what I want for myself, things around me. it just allowed me to think a lot deeper, as opposed to when I was just being overstimulated and surrounded by noise and things going on all around me. A really big thing that I think I struggled with, and I struggled with coming to terms with, but I learned in 2023 and I just learned to embrace it, is you can be multifaceted. You could do anything. Like, just because you're in, I don't know, say career wise, just because you're in one field or one industry, it doesn't mean that you can't branch out into something else. Just because you play football, it doesn't mean that you can't play basketball because you enjoy that too. Just because you like a certain thing, it doesn't mean that you can't, like another thing and put time and energy and effort into that other thing. And I think growing up, I've loved everything. I've been interested in fashion, I've been interested in beauty, I've been interested in events and media, and I've got so many things that I sit down and I'm like, I'd love to do this and this and this and this and this. And there's nothing in the world that can stop you from doing anything that you want to do. I feel like a lot of people box themselves up into certain categories and they just stick there. Even if they don't want to, they just stay there. And I'm like, I could never, like, I couldn't actually do that. If you know me, you know that I've always had a crazy passion for events, planning, decorating, anything to do with events. But then I've also had a passion for media. I've always wanted to be, journalist, BBC, ITV, that kind of. I've always had those two avenues in my heart, in my mind. And a lot of people would be like, you just need to focus on one. You need to just do one. But no, you could do anything. You could do anything you want. And I feel like a lot of that does probably come from my faith. I feel like, nothing is impossible for God. So I could do whatever with him. But, I think anyone, whether you're a Christian or not, you can always believe that you could do anything that you want to do. And another thing is, it's never too late to change, what it is that you want to do. I did network and connect with someone in 2023 who had spent 50 years in the fashion industry, worked her way up in Selfridges. She worked proper high-end luxury stores, and then she realised she just liked writing. She just wanted to become an author. And a lot of people were like, you've worked your way up in this world, in this luxury world, just to leave it all and become a writer. And that was just what she wanted to do, so she did it. And when she was telling me like all the stories of what people were saying to her, even her closest people were just like, don't be silly, like you could do that when when you literally have nothing to do and you're not working anymore, but look at the name you've made for yourself. And she wasn't bothered about all of that. She just wanted to do, what her passion was. And even after 50 years, she was just like, this is what I'm going to do. And she did it, and she doesn't regret it one bit. So I think it's just important to remember that you don't always have to be stuck in one category, one career path, one zone, hobby, whatever the case may be. You can do anything. Another thing I would say I learned is not to take things personally. I did used to be like, if something happened, I would be like, what is that person's problem with me? But now I've realised, majority of the time, it's not me. It's not you. It's them. Some people let certain things out because of what they're going through, because of what they've been through, because of how they're feeling. And as soon as you realise that, certain things will not affect you as much anymore. And, realising that and dealing with that, it will make you so much happier, because that deep down you are not the problem. And it also makes you a bit more understanding. I've worked with so many people that have just lashed out, or that have, been unnecessarily rude or unnecessarily just not pleasant to be around. And then when you actually sit down and look, or you actually sit down and speak to them, you can sort of see exactly how they've got to that point and how they think it's okay to treat people like that, or why they do that. And majority of the time it is to protect themselves from, like I said, things that they've experienced, things that they've been through. And once you do realise that it's not you, it's them, and you don't take things that personal, like I said, you do become a lot happier, and little things just don't bother you anymore. Like little comments, people's attitudes, they just don't bother you anymore. And that just literally made me such a happier and more another thing person. That I learned in 2023, and that I will take from for the rest of my life, and I'll always say this to everyone that I meet, is speak to people. And I know it sounds really easy for, you know, someone who gets in front of the camera, post on YouTube, post on TikTok, to say, you know, speak to people. But I think even the shyest, that is what, shyest of people, the most shy, that does not sound right at all. But even if you're a shy person, I'll stick with that. Even if you are a shy person, something as simple as saying thank you to, you know, a shopkeeper, thank you, have a good day. One, you don't know where that conversation will lead. You never know what they'll say to you. They might ask you, so, you too, like, do you have anything planned for today? You don't know where that conversation will lead to. Two, even if that conversation doesn't lead anywhere, your little comment might have made their day. Speaking to people, I feel like now people feel so like individualistic. Like you step out of the house, you go do what you're doing, and you get straight back home. No chit chat, no seeing. I don't want to see people, I don't want to chat to people. I feel like I hear a lot of people saying that, and I'm just like, if we all just had a little bit more like kindness, and not even, you don't even have to have the biggest conversation. I'm not saying like speak to people and find out about their whole life story, but simple conversations with literally random people. Someone asking me, oh, like, do you like that book? Or I've read that book before. And the conversation has literally led to them becoming like a client. Or the conversation has led to them becoming someone that, you know, I have on socials, and we check up on each other here and there, and we've actually, you know, formed a connection. Or, you know, little conversations, the little conversations mean a lot. And I think there's so many people. One thing that stood out to me is when I first moved to London, and I would say thank you to people, like, and then this one man in the post office was like, people don't say thank you. He was like, people don't say thank you anymore. And I was like, that's odd. Like, that's really odd to me. So I just feel like the smallest bit of convo, just thank you, or, you know, have a good day, or you know, like, one of my friends, she is so like outspoken. If we're out and about and she sees someone wearing a really nice outfit, she will not hesitate to be like, you look really nice. And I'm just like, I don't have that much confidence, but that makes people's day. Like, think about when someone says that to you and you're just like, oh, me? Like, so that's one thing that I've 100% learned, is speaking to people. Just do it. The smallest conversation. And yeah, little conversations matter. And even if it doesn't mean anything to you, to that person, you might have made their day. To that person, you might have reminded them that, you know, someone does care. Like, there are nice people out there. Whatever you're going through, you know, there are nice people out there. So that's definitely one thing that I've learned, and I'm just gonna continue for the rest of my life. Just a little conversation. The last one, and I think one of the most important things that I have learned from 2023, is to be careful what you consume, and, you know, the people that are around you. This sort of become a thought in my head after reading Good Vibes, Good Life once again. Like, this book is honestly like it's 10 out of 10. That's when I started to sort of think about who I was spending a lot of my time with, how they actually made me feel. Did I feel drained after being with them? And certain things, like even music, even, you know, things that I would watch, I started to consume more podcasts that would sort of motivate me, or I could take something from them or learn something from them, as opposed to like very gossipy podcasts, which, you know, it's obviously, we all gossip, we all have a chit chat, but to a certain extent, I think I was very intentional about what the kind of conversations I was having with people, the kind of things that I was letting into my brain, the kind of things that I was having, that I was consuming day after day. And I think once you realize that, and once you sort of start looking at things like that, your life can get so much happier and a lot more positive. Obviously it's something that you have to look at yourself, and that you have to be very honest and truthful with yourself about, because there are a lot of people that I know I don't speak to them anymore because the conversation would just be gossip. Like, there's nothing else to speak about. The people that I have around me now, I know I could sit there and speak to them about anything. I could sit there and speak to them about goals, about dreams, about plans that I have, about the Bible, about, you know, something crazy that I read the other day, or something silly. That I can have conversations that won't drain me. I can have conversations that I will leave like motivated, feeling motivated, as opposed to like drained, and as opposed to like down, and, you know. So I think just being intentional and actually self-reflecting and thinking about how certain things make you feel, and like how much certain things take from you and what you're taking from them, is very, very important. Those are the main things that I have learned in 2023, and that I will be taking in 2024, 2025, 2026, you know, forever and ever. And I hope that you guys took something from this, even if it was just one thing, and you actually sit down and have a think about some of the things that, you know, I've sort of learned, and decided to apply to like the rest of my life. And I hope you guys enjoyed this Nommy Talks, and I will see you very, very soon. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. And if there is anything that you want to talk about, or if you do want to, you know, be involved, then just drop me a message, and, you know,